Imagine an environmental leader drafting an email filled with harsh, critical feedback about a partner organization. After a long day of frustration, he strikes send. But he didn't hit reply to a single colleague. He accidentally hit reply all. That unvarnished critique just landed in the inboxes of over 100 influential network leaders. This actually happened between Mark Dubois, the sender, and John Jones, the recipient. Both are seasoned veterans of planetary stewardship. Mark spent decades protecting rivers, and John spent years facilitating global sustainability efforts. We know exactly how this plays out. This diagram maps the standard reaction path. First comes swift defensiveness. Then, silent resentment builds up within the group. Finally, the network fractures entirely. In almost every professional setting, this type of friction guarantees the destruction of the working relationship. The collaboration collapses, and any shared progress stalls indefinitely. Now, take the collapse of that single email thread and scale it up to the global stage. We are currently facing a polycrisis, a simultaneous overlapping failure of our global climate, our economic structures, and our political systems. Millions of people are attempting to fix these failing systems using traditional activism. This approach treats the system as a broken machine that needs to be aggressively dismantled. Look at the operating system of traditional activism shown here in this table. Its core engine runs on urgency and outrage. It views opponents strictly as enemies to defeat, leading straight to deep polarization. We call this problem the human bottleneck. We are attempting to redesign global economic and ecological systems using the exact same fear-based tools and adversarial tactics that originally broke them. If our environmental coalitions fracture over a mistaken email, we lose the capacity to coordinate a global response. The massive systemic shifts required to save the Earth are held back by the fragility of our human connections. Let's go back to Mark Dubois' accidental reply-all email. Instead of defaulting to fracture, this specific network took a different path, mapped here as the conscious reaction. Mark immediately modeled accountability. He issued an undefended, public apology to the entire network, refusing to hide behind technical excuses or justifications. John then modeled grace. He refused to weaponize the error, openly stating unconditional support for Mark and acknowledging that in high-stress environments, everyone is doing their best. This process is the Kintsugi Blueprint. Just like the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold to make it stronger, this approach treats misunderstandings not as failures to cancel each other over, but as clear signals inviting deeper communication. By refusing to operate from fear or ego, Mark and John turned professional friction into the exact fuel needed to evolve and strengthen their collaboration. You might wonder if love, skills, and grace can actually stand up against the ruthless mechanics of global power dynamics. We are highly familiar with tactics like the shock doctrine, documented by Naomi Klein, where powerful interests exploit crises to force unpopular changes onto a fearful, disoriented public. But researchers Stephan Schwartz discovered a historical counterstrategy. He called it the Beingness Doctrine, a strategy of nonviolent, life-affirming integrity pioneered and sustained by small groups like the Quakers. The historical proof is overwhelming. The abolition of slavery, the women's suffrage movement, and the push for civil rights all shared this exact underlying mechanism. They succeeded through a relentless commitment to shared internal character over violence. In his final interview, Mahatma Gandhi looked past his tactics of nonviolence to name a deeper force. He told a reporter that it was the beingness of the Indian people that caused the British to choose to leave. History shows us that the most permanent, progressive changes were never won by out-fearing the opponent. They were won by out-loving them. To apply this historical strategy to the modern climate crisis, today's movements must upgrade their operating systems. We can navigate this shift using the core inquiry compass shown here. It is built entirely around asking one continuously disruptive question: what would love do now? The first pillar is C. It requires systems awareness. This means looking at opponents not as evil enemies to be crushed, but as humans operating from a place of fear. The second pillar is B. This is inner development. It means actively cultivating the patience, humility, and consciousness required to sustain a grueling movement without burning out. The final pillar is do. It requires translating that deep insight and patience into direct, bridge-building action and practical planetary stewardship. These three pillars are non-negotiable. Action without inner consciousness leads directly to burnout, and awareness without action is just stagnation. When we look at this diagram, we see what happens when see, be, and do perfectly overlap. We arrive at love-centered system stewardship. Traditional activism ends in fractured, siloed efforts, but love-centered stewardship builds sustainable resilience. It creates a network capable of mass coordination because the humans inside the network actually trust each other. We have seen what this mass-aligned coordination looks like when it is aimed at protecting the Earth. In 1990, Earth Day mobilized 200 million people across the globe, driven by a shared, life-affirming vision. The accountability and grace that repaired a single email thread are the same qualities that enable millions of people to stay aligned under pressure. By healing our human relationships, we create the collective resilience required to restore the Earth. It all starts by asking, what would love do now?